Hello friends, today for review I've got yet another model but by KB Ear. Actually I've got two of them, but I've decided to start with Diamond. It's more affordable, and actually KB Ear makes more focus on this model because I believe it will appear the wider market. Speaking about this model, what I like in Chinese hi-fi or chi-fi in-ear monitors is that how quickly they adapt high-end technologies. And this in-ear monitors actually features crystalline diamond-like carbon-coated dynamic driver. So it's something that previously you could get only in really expensive models, but this one costs about $80 on the AliExpress. I will put link to the shop, to the official KB Ear shop in the description, and you can make an unpaid order and send them Porta.Fi as a message. They will give you about $9 or $10 discount, so you can get them for $70. Not a big deal, but they asked me to share it with you. Maybe it could be helpful to someone. So nice price, really promising model, and let's have a closer look. As you can see, they've decided to make a premium box, pretty wide, pretty big. Comparing with KZ or TRN1, it's noticeable step forward in terms of packaging, looks really stylish. Inside of this big black box, actually not much information here, but technical specifications are present: 102 decibels of sensitivity and 16 ohms of impedance. So nice average values. Inside of this pretty big box, warranty card will have, and in-ear monitors themselves, two pair of foam tips here, and cardboard box with case. Stylish leather case, and you will have three pair of classical gray tips with red stems with wider bores, and also classical fully black single flange tips with bit narrower bores and stock cable. So as you can see, accessory set is really nice, especially taking price into account and comparing with other models in this price range. So let's zoom a little bit. In terms of design, they are also nice. As you can see, they are made of metal. There is actually, I don't know what color is it, it's something between gray and green, so light cyan probably. Made of metal with carbon faceplates, company's logo, and they are really well done, looks stylish, and everything. Finish quality is also superb, so they definitely looks really nice. And nice extended spouts with proper angle, with good length, so sound isolation is about average, maybe a bit above average. There is a lip for holding the tips, protective grill, so no derbies will fall inside of the shell. Let's have them back. Wearing comfort is good, everything is smooth, so no issues with wearing. Maybe if you have small ears, there could be some problems, but for me they are fitting really nicely with great comfort. They are designed for over-the-ear wearing, but it's typical nowadays. And stock cable looks also really gorgeous. So right earpiece, right connector. They've decided to use 2-pin connector. I think it's good because they are more reliable in the inexpensive segment. So there is ear hook format, no memory wire inside, so it's not bendable, but it's holding cable around your ear pretty well. And here is cable itself, 4 wires for each earpiece, really soft, really nice. Zero microphonic effect. Probably you can try some cable rolling, but actually this one is pretty good in terms of acoustics and other related stuff, and of course it's good in terms of usability. So no microphonic effect because it's soft and the ear hooks are present, comfortable, not easy to tangle, really pleasant to touch. Here is splitter with chin slider, and after that it goes 8 strands, goes way down to the pretty big straight jack. So cable is also nice. So as you can see, I said it in previous reviews few times and I will repeat it in this one. KB Ear try to do their best to give you the maximum possible value for this price. Really good build quality, really nice cable, so I suppose they will be durable and will serve longer, but at first sight they look really attractive, reliable, nicely built, with good presentation and pretty decent accessories set. But of course everyone wants to hear about the sound, and it's the case when in-ear monitors doesn't sound corresponding to their frequency response chart. There is some hit and miss if you look at the frequency response plot, because on the chart they look really V-shaped with a big peak on the treble and pretty big hump on the low frequencies, and lows are accented but not as much as they looks like, and treble isn't also accented much, so they don't sounding sharp as probably one can expect looking at the frequency response plot. But let's proceed step by step. We need player to show examples. I gave them about 60 hours of burn-in. Sound changes were really minor. Bass became a bit faster, but definitely change wasn't big, so I think there is no much sense in running extended burn-in, so just grab them and enjoy. You need to find the proper tips. They pretty responsive to the tips rolling, so you can experiment with it. They also responsive to cable rolling, but not much, but just minor tweaks you can involve. But of course I will describe the stock version and with these tips because I like sound with them more. So low frequencies are tight, impactful, there is an accent on the lows, but it's moderate. They definitely not bass heavy. They are a bit bassier than natural, but I don't know, like if we try to make some on the scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is like Teen Audio P1 and 10 is something like, I don't know, by audio models with big bass accent, this one will be probably 6 or something like that. But of course it's just my attempt to explain. They are a bit more accented than traditionally, but not much more. So main accent is made on mid bass, but deeper layers of bass is also present, and bass here is really tasty. It's well textured, it's really good in terms of impact, in terms of speed. It's pretty resolving, above average in terms of resolution for the dynamic driver. It pumps enough air to provide tightness, to provide perfect amount of impact, and it's pretty universal, so it's sounding nice with real acoustic instruments, and it's pretty good with electronic music. Maybe if you like accented low frequencies, you can select something more bassier. Actually, Teen Audio has such models, but it's a matter of next review. And this one is it's just fitting my taste, and I say I can name it as properly accented low frequencies. Nice, really enjoyable texturing, not dry as balanced armatures, but it's like a good dynamic driver bass probably it can be described this way. And as an example, once again, I will promote really good electronic music project from Ukraine, Onuka, or Granddaughter, and it's a nice mix of folk music and electronic, more electronic, but a lot of folk influence here. And track named Other. I really like this project because, it's an example of well-produced, probably, electronic music. They're using a lot of real instruments, lot of unusual samples, and it's sounding really nice. But of course they have a punchy and enjoyable bass line, and probably these in-ear monitors close to my targeted amount of low frequencies, and of course they are really good in representing this impactful bass. At the same time, they are pretty resolving on the mids and treble to represent all these three-dimensional effects and other samples. And this is really crucial for electronic music, because many people just forget about mids and treble for electronic music, but I think that it's not a good idea, but you know that without me. So, looking at the frequency response, you can suspect that mids here are really recessed and moved somewhere in background, but it's not true. Of course, bass is dominating over mid frequencies a little bit, but mids are pretty clean, clear, and resolving, and it's a good, nice resolving dynamic drivers. So don't expect the micro details or focus on the maximum resolution like balanced armatures do. At the same time, just normal or even a bit above normal resolution of dynamic drivers with really good balance between the two edges. So not too focused on the micro detalization, not too focused on the macro contrast, so somewhere in between, and in this aspect they are pretty universal. So imaginary stage is about average, maybe a bit above average in width and average in depth, but with really good layering and with really good instrument separation. So it's not the hugest and most spacious stage, but they are building three-dimensional, they are making three-dimensional positioning really in a really natural way and really without any problems. So really good in this aspect. Maybe not the spacious one, but for many genres I think it's not really necessary. Like for example, for metal or rock music, big stage is not a plus, because when there are few dozens of meters between two guitarists, it's not sounding realistic. And this one is just what it should be, probably. So example for the mids is speaking about the rock music, it's Too Much Rope by Roger Waters. First of his two political pamphlet works. Why I select this track? Because it has really nice chorus that highlights Waters' sarcastic thoughts, and this chorus is really nicely recorded, and this in-ear monitors represent it really well, and this contrast between Waters and chorus sounding pretty enjoyable and really nice. And treble, so once again, I already said, but I will repeat it once again. So if you expect a huge treble peak, so don't worry, it's not here. I don't know why they measure with such a big peak, but actually treble here sounding not polite. Of course they are highlighted a little bit, but not too much, at least to my ears, and they are pretty safe. So if you're super treble sensitive, probably you need to try them before buying, but to my ears it's just a good amount of treble to neutralize the accented low frequencies or to balance them. Of course, extension is just average, because it's still not really expensive model, and to make a good extension you will need some few balanced armatures with some super tweeters. So Really extended treble is usually a matter of much more expensive models. But extension is normal for this price range. Of course, resolution is a bit lacking comparing with balanced armatures, but it's still sounding pretty natural and with proper attacks and decays, so sounding pretty enjoyable. And they have basic overtone saturation, not super rich but normal, so don't expect some rich overtones, but still pretty acceptable. And with main tones they are really nice. So here is an example, and it's the Doors, Unhappy Girl. They use a lot of bells and percussion in their tracks, and this one is not an exception. And bells here sounding really crisp and clean and really natural with these in-ear monitors. In terms of pairing, they don't require something super powerful, they just require something with decent resolution. So basically players like Few M6, Hybe R3, maybe R3 Pro, I suppose I will test it in some near future, or something like that, and up to mid-segment Few M11, Hybe R5, iBus or BX160, so somewhere in this segment players will be a great pairing for them. In terms of genres and styles, they are universal. Probably they more targeted for those who prefer fun over the neutrality and fun over the resolution, but at the same time they're not too fun and too highlighting emotions, so really well done balance of engaging sound and at the same time with pretty normal resolution and other technical capabilities. Speaking about the comparisons, maybe it's a bit subjective, but I think it's best model in sub $100 range for those who like dynamic drivers and for those who need a bit shift towards weight and fun. Because if you need resolution, for example, there is Alpha and Delta D6, and it's one of the most resolving dynamic drivers ever. While this one is shifted more towards the warmer side, and for me they overperform, for example, TFZ S2 Pro that I reviewed previously. And actually they probably a bit overperforms my previous favorite, Austria KC09, because they also maintain similar, a bit warmer signature while being a bit more technically, a bit more resolving and a bit more technical. What else? What dynamic drivers we have in this segment? There is not much sense in comparing them, for example, with hybrid in-ear monitors, because hybrids will give you a bit more resolution on the upper frequencies. At the same time, they will be less weighty and sometimes more thin, more sharp, so it's a different representation. What else we had in the dynamic driver area? Actually, I don't remember. SimGod EN700 bass, they are a bit more warmer and a bit more slower. SimGod MT3 Pro, they are a bit more neutral. They are warm overall, but they have less accent on the low frequencies than this one, but also a bit accented. So accented but a bit less. If I forgot some other models, just feel free to ask if I will be able to do some comparison, because my memory is not as good to provide the detailed comparison sometimes. I will try to describe at least a brief difference, but actually I think KB Diamond is a really decent model and they will get a lot of attention in near future. So thank you for listening and have a nice day.